Today, the huddle to here to get some energy. Today is called sharpening your sword, right? And we'll get into that in a minute here. But we like to start every day with that little welcoming portion, and then we get into our funding story. So I have that ready for you guys today. Today's going to be very jam packed. I got a lot of stuff planned for you guys, and for those of you who just got in here a minute ago. We're going to be doing something similar to our Halloween huddle at the end, Thanksgiving style. So if you don't have your camera on, maybe do whatever you can between now and the end of the huddle to get it on so you can be a part of that if you want to do so. But the huddle, let's get into it, guys. So today's funding story came over hot off the press from Mr. Wade Cordell. Always thankful, keeping the Thanksgiving spirit, always thankful for the Bank Breezy team and all of the countless hours and conversations and effort that they put into every single file of ours. So thank you to the Bank Breezy team, Wade, Brad, and all the others that I haven't mentioned. But today's funding story, a gas station, which is actually a very high risk industry out of Texas. The broker is 3H. If you're on today, we'd love to hear kind of how this client came to be and your side of the process. But so this is a gas station, which, like I mentioned, falls in one of the high risk industry categories. So most all A lenders decline instantly. But the client has very good credit, averaging about 117,000 monthly. However, when you subtract the lottery sales, which don't count, he's doing about closer to 75K. And the client was looking to receive about 250,000. So, being that if that doesn't fall even up to the 2 times the monthly revenue range at that 75K, so the team will be discussing some staged funding with them. If he absolutely needs additional funds, we can come behind this funding with a second position because the A lender offer is so good. So that goes to my next point. We received an A lender offer, right? Like I mentioned, most in this industry, A lenders decline this, but our team worked around the clock to get an A lender offer at 70K, 24-month core rate with effective rate of 1.25. Guys, come on. Core rate 24 months, 1.25, and the offer is going to be presented today. And like I mentioned, obviously, he gave an amount that he's requested of 250K, but this is an example of when we would come through with stage funding, right? And especially with an A lender, that's something that is a very real possibility for them. So it may not be the 250 he needs now, but it's definitely going to help if it can start whatever he needs for his business to grow. So phenomenal 3H. Like I said, if you're on today, we'd love to hear kind of how this originated, if it's warm market, how you reached out, the process. Go ahead.
I got a new one, hot off the press. Just got
Let's
it
go.
very
Come
quick.
on.
I want to talk about it.
You got
This
it.
file was submitted to us on the 17th. That's 9 days ago. This guy's been shopping. He's very knowledgeable about the industry, so it really took some skill, a lot of industry knowledge, and some negotiations, and we just got him to accept a $250,000 offer with what we call retention rates, which means he's over a 18-month period. He's going to average the effective rates of 1 to 1. And he's got a position, but I was able to talk to the funding group, the company, the lender, and say, listen, it's a line of credit. You don't want to get rid of that, so we're not going to get the deal unless you can make this happen. Some of them require a complete payoff. We're letting it stand. He's going to keep his line of credit, and though his monthly amount that he gets in revenue, it averages about 169 to 170,000. He had one big month that bumped up to about 240, but we were able to give him the 250,000 that he was looking for. And I just want to say that the broker, by the way, is Joseph Flatt. Good job staying out of the way, letting us do our thing for 9 days, not getting impatient, because it took us 12 hours to get him the offer. It took him 9 days to shop it and find out that he couldn't beat it. So we're in the process. He's already got the contract signed. Now we're trying to get the bank verification completed. And I don't think we would even had to do that part if it had not taken 9 days for him to make a decision. They're nervous, making sure he hasn't taken money anywhere else. So that's just one I wanted to jump on and throw out there. I appreciate everything, man. Thanks.
Absolutely, Wade. I mean, guys, that is insane. I mean, we mentioned this time and time again, right? I mean, I almost made that the topic of today, the power of the platform. That was going to be today's title, the power of the platform. There's that guy's shopping out there, whether he didn't understand the power of Bank Breezy and Wade and the team or not. But I mean, coming back after 9 days and seeing that, the team doesn't stop working. I mean, I'm presenting this, and we've got hot off the press things that are constantly moving as of a few hours ago. So Wade, Joseph, the team, I can't express enough. I think you mentioned 1.21. I mean, that's guys, that's unbelievable. So hats off to the broker, Joseph, Wade, the team, Bank Breezy platform all around. That is exactly why our platform is so powerful. And we should be leading with that every single time. Those are the kind of stories that really do sell, right? It's not a fact. That's a story. That's a 10-day story right there. So great job, team. Now it's time to move into today's pro tip. So it's like I mentioned, sharpening your sword, right? In DAC, we have many different ways as brokers to reach and serve business owners. Conversations in person, simple texts, warm emails, creative outreaches, setting up, maybe a quick consultation, conversation, social media content, follow-up systems, or even just, talking about the platform more confidently, right? There's many things that we have in our arsenal as brokers with David Allen Capital. And we have a lot of material, things for free that help us along the way, which is a blessing, right? But here's the truth. Most of us lean heavily on one or two, maybe three methods that we're comfortable with, and we kind of maybe set down, ignore the rest, right? So that's where sharpening your sword comes in. Your sword is every tool, it's every skill, it's every angle, approach that you have to help a business owner. That's what we're here to do, is serve the business owners, and obviously that becomes fruitful for us as brokers, right? And like any good craftsman, you've got to sharpen that tool. You need to make it as effective as it possibly can at all times when you're going into quote unquote battle, right? So that means picking one area that you haven't touched on in a while, or maybe ever, and leveling it up. It could be getting better at your follow-up messages, your follow-up touches. It could be making your first social media post about DAC, getting out there, or just even sharing the ones that we've been putting out, and we will continue to put out. Relearning how to explain Bank Breezy more quickly and clearly, right? You've become more experienced, and now that's easier for you to do. So you need to craft that, what you're saying, make it shorter. Updating your introduction message, right? Practicing your conversations when you're deep into the woods with a business owner, right? Talking about the nitty gritty in the trenches with those business owners. Learning how to schedule simple funding consultations, right? Setting up a time for you guys to speak, knowing that they're busy, or even just organizing your warm list, reaching back out in a way that you can constantly check in with them. Those are just examples, right? So knowing your own journey, where you're at as a broker, pick one and sharpen that sword today, right? So the goal isn't to overhaul everything, right? It's to add one more skill or improve one more tool, one more advantage for you and your artillery as a broker, right? So because the sharper we are, the more confident we become. That's just a fact. And the easier it is and it becomes to help business owners get the funding that they need, and do it like a pro, do it like a real specialist, a real advisor who has seen, certain things before, been in certain situations. Maybe you haven't, but maybe that's part of your sword sharpening, right? Is getting some funding stories, having some backing behind you to help you in those situations. So today's challenge: pick one area of your business that you have not mastered or updated in a while, sharpen it, just one. Okay, we're going to start with one. Start with what we can do today, and do something in that category that makes your sword sharper by tomorrow. Okay, now obviously tomorrow's Thanksgiving, but going into the weekend, right? This is, like I mentioned before we even jumped on, this is a really busy, somewhat stressful time. In fact, maybe very stressful time for business owners. It's the holiday season. Their businesses couldn't be busier, or they couldn't need more people on deck, or they are thinking about the holidays and their families. This is a great time where business owners are definitely thinking about how their business can be better starting Q1 of 2026. That's a fact. Okay, guys. So I usually end my huddles with a quote, and I picked one today that I feel is very aligned with today's challenge and just the title alone, Sharpening Your Sword. So here is the quote. It's from Abraham Lincoln. The quote is, "If you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I will spend the first hour sharpening the axe." Right, guys? So you may say, hey, why wouldn't you start chopping down the tree, man? You got 6 hours. If it's a race, I want to be first. Well, sometimes preparing yourself, right? Spending that time to prepare yourself to do what you need to do is just as important as doing it itself. So I thought that quote was very fitting. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree. I'm going to spend, what is that? 15% of the time sharpening the axe, right? And that's the first thing you're going to do. That's what we need to do today so that going into the weekend, going into next week, we have another tool, another advantage that maybe we didn't before, guys.